Well, hello again and good evening and welcome back to the Hockey Writers Live. This is episode 4 and we are very thoroughly excited for tonight because we actually have a guest, as you can see here. We have the PR guy and the play-by-play guy, and I'm not sure however many hats he has, that he works for the Flint Firebirds, but Dominic Hennig is going to join us for the first half an hour, and then from there we're going to talk some junior hockey, some college hockey, some minor league hockey. We're going to talk about dates. We're going to talk about the World Junior Championships. So I got a lot to get to in an hour. But Dominic Hennig, welcome aboard to the Hockey Writers Live, and thanks for joining us.
Love what you guys are doing. Thanks so much for the offer to be here.
Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time, Dom. I guess just first off, just how are you doing overall?
It's tough. What is today? It's Tuesday right now, recording this, and right now we'd probably be hosting a radio show at a restaurant here, or a coach's show, or something of that nature. And instead, today I told you before we jumped on this, I was actually at my office cleaning the office out today instead. So.
Right.
Not something you're normally doing in October. Obviously, we're all doing things that probably we're not used to. But at the end of the day, health is there. And, just living here in North America, we're blessed. So happy to be, just got to count your blessings is what I've learned. And that's where I'm at right now.
Absolutely. And I mean, you said it. I mean, you said that you took time to clean your desk out for 4 hours today. I pretty much worked an 8-hour shift here from home. Prior to this, I got to clean my desk out a little bit too. Normally we're preparing for, OHL hockey. We'd be a couple weeks into a normal season at this point. So you'd be busy. We'd all be busy. It's just, can you put into words, Dom, how surreal it is just knowing that we really don't have any firm dates to this point, and who knows when we actually might see OHL hockey again.
Yeah, well, the league, has come out and publicly said that December 1st is their targeted start date, and November 15th players report for training camp. I think at this point, I think everybody probably, may not see that happening here in the near future. If it were up to me, I think there's a lot of things, both, the government from both sides of the border and the league, still need to figure out. And of course, health is safety and paramount. And at the health and safety is at the forefront of all of this for our players and our staff and our fans and everybody involved. When will we see OHL hockey again? Your guess is as good as mine. I'm pretty sure that the owners are going to get together this weekend, and there's going to be a league announcement coming next week. And from there, who knows what they're going to decide. My hope and my best guess would be that, hey, we're going to have hockey maybe after the new year here, and we're going to go for it. But you never know what they're going to say. Regardless, it's the Ontario Hockey League. It's one of the greatest leagues in the world. They're going to make the best decisions. They have full-time attorneys and full-time legal teams working with government officials every single day to make the best decision possible. And my faith is in them to make whatever decision is right for, again, the players, the staff, the fans, the communities. They'll make the right call.
Yeah, and that's what they'll take their time with it. Now, if there's anything that we know about the OHL, is you're right. They do they're deliberate, but in a very good way, because there's so many people, there's so many things that we have to account for. And I think it's interesting too, the Quebec League, part of the CHL, they started, but they're struggling with COVID-19 right now in certain areas where they've had to suspend play. I'm sure the league is really paying very close attention to this. And you mentioned after Christmas time, at least to me anyway, from kind of an outsider's point of view, it seems that it would make sense to have the league maybe start after the World Junior Championships. I mean, that would give everybody kind of enough time to, kind of collect themselves, see where everybody's at, and then kind of start with a fresh season in January. We'll see where it goes. You said next week, right? They're going to have a meeting.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if that's public knowledge. I don't even know if I'm accurate or not.
Mhm.
But I think the ownership are going to meet in the coming week here or so, and then of course after every time they meet there is a league announcement. So
Yeah.
I again, you're right. Even World Juniors, you got to think about plays a factor into this. Christmas break, all that
Hmm.
stuff. Maybe at this point in time, maybe coming back, after the first of the year, and going into July, it could be a play. Who knows? But again, whatever they decide on, I'm sure it's going to be the most professional and best case scenario.
And it'll be really interesting to see too, especially with, you mentioned the border, and I know that rumors are always flying around. So we don't know anything until the league actually says what's going to happen. But I've heard that, what if teams from the United States can't go up to Canada, or the vice versa, teams from Canada can't come down? There's been talk about U.S. teams playing U.S. teams. So the Flint Saginaw rivalry seems like you guys play each other 12 times a year. It might be a lot more if something like that comes to fruition. Um, and then with questions too, we're talking about the Canadian government said that they'd have to eliminate body checking for an OHL season to go. So just until the owners meet, until the league meets, until we actually get announcements on anything, rumors are just rumors. We just hope that the right decisions are made and that everybody is able to come together, for the right reason. We all need hockey, but we need to make sure that it's done in the right circumstances all the time. So
Yeah, you have to imagine, the Dave Branch, who is, the longtime president of the CHL and commissioner of the OHL, now the commissioner of the OHL. He hasn't built this league into what it is today with, out doing things the right way. You have to imagine him and the legal team, at the Canadian Hockey League level and at the Ontario Hockey League level, are talking to governments about the border situation every single day. You have to imagine they're talking to the Minister of Health in Canada about the checking. And I've heard rumors that they've not spoke, the Minister of Health and the OHL. I heard that was fake news, as of course the American president says. So, who knows where that really is. A lot of things are rumors and not true, is what I am hearing. But, when it comes to border, yeah, that's an option. Flint and Saginaw normally play each other 8 times a year, 4 in each building.
yeah.
Upwards of Flint, Saginaw, Erie playing maybe each other, the first 8-10 games to start the year 20 times straight, maybe, until, things calm down and the border reopens and Justin Trudeau in Ontario or Canada, Trudeau and Ford in Ontario and Canada,
Mm-hmm.
Open that border again. Who knows? But, I do know, talking with some officials, that they did say it's an all or nothing thing. And they're not going to leave the American teams out. We're one league, and, we stick together. And that's great to hear, being an American franchise. So,
yeah, and also in the West too, with the WHL, they got Seattle and Portland out there. So there's questions everywhere. So it's just stay tuned. The best decisions are going to made, and in the right time, I think that we're going to get hopefully some good news that a season will be officially underway. If you're just joining us here, this is a Hockey Writers Live. This is episode 4, and we have the pleasure of speaking to Flint Firebirds play-by-play and PR man Dominic Hennig. Is going to join us for like the next 20 minutes or so here. So Dominic, I just want to flip gears a little bit. Since there is no hockey, but you're still working every day, you're working in public relations. I just wonder the kind of challenges that you have to overcome working in this kind of environment. And then what is your team doing to still try to produce content without games at the moment?
I hate to correct you, but
Yeah.
I'm not. I've been furloughed since April, so I
Oh.
currently myself have been unemployed. It means a lot that you think that the
Mm-hmm.
Firebirds are still rolling, and unlike like a lot of my colleagues, I don't know many that are still working right now, even at the NHL level. I know
Wow.
quite a few
I
that have been laid off.
did not know that.
So, I am in that situation where, um, you know, I've been, temporarily furloughed. And then for those that don't know, that means that, when the season starts, that, you're one of the first hires back again. So it's not like you're
Got it.
fired yet. But,
Yep.
uh, for me, I took the route of still working for the team. Like I said, I was at the office today from 9 a.m. till 7 p.m.
Mm.
And some say, hey, maybe that's not too wise, and I suggest against it. But I think everything this franchise has been through in Flint We finally have a great year, a 40-win season, 15 consecutive wins, 12 straight on the road. The last thing this franchise needed was to go dark, go black, and I've been here since day one in 2015. So it's a little personal to me. And I wanted this franchise to stay alive. I wanted this franchise to stay, in the limelight. So, I've worked all summer on my own dime, I guess, and trying to keep the team alive with the OHL draft and signing players. We've signed 5 guys. We've traded for 2. We signed 6 guys with our Euro. We traded for 2, so we've added 8 players. And then, the NHL draft, and for the 5th consecutive year, at least one Flint Firebird was picked in the NHL draft. So how do you not cover any of that and then come back and have pride in your team in the future? You can't. So, I try to stick with that and keep our team alive. I do think it's getting harder as we progress here, because now when you think about it, we haven't played since March. So what is that? April, May, June, July, August, September, October, going into November, 7.5, 8 months, into the future, or since our last hockey game. So it's tough, but what I have learned, Mark, is it's what I love to do. I love to do it. I can't stop. And it's, it's something that, hopefully it gets recognized and, makes it easier to climb the ladder to the NHL one day.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, Dom, your work is definitely recognized out there. The calls that you had on certain goals, I know they're played. I know they're shared. The passion is easily seen, and kind of going back to last year for a second for you. You're right. The team hasn't played since March, but what a special season the Firebirds had. I mean, from the winning streak to just everything that was going on, to just have it all come crashing down. Can you recall the moment when when the team realized that things were going to come to a stop, like just the lead into the stoppage? Do you remember just how crazy that all was from your perspective?
I do remember. It's funny you ask that. I don't think I've told this story yet. We had a Wednesday, Friday road trip from Wednesday in the Sioux, Friday in London, Saturday at home. It was Wednesday night. We were in the Sioux. We were staying Wednesday after the game, which is rare in junior hockey. We were going to stay in the Sioux, and we were going to drive Thursday morning from Sault Ste. Marie south through Michigan, and then through Flint and east to London.
Yep.
And get there Thursday night and play Friday in London. The team, by the way, I can't say enough about ownership and the coaching staff, Ryan Kuwabara, who planned everything. Last year, I think a lot of our success was the way our team traveled and the way they ate. All meals were catered into conference rooms, even breakfast, and day before, staying after in cities and stuff. All rare things for junior hockey, but Flint did it pro, the best I've seen in my 12 years in hockey, actually. And that's 6 years of NCAA Division I as well. But the story is, Wednesday night we're playing in the Sioux, and I get a text from my buddy during the game, and he said, who was it? It was the NBA or college basketball. I think it was the NBA. He said the NBA shut down for COVID. And I remember, I don't know if we were in the second or third period. I think it was the third. And I said, on the air, I wish I could go back and find it. I said, well, hey guys, it's been a great season. And I turned, and after the post game show, I signed off by saying, I don't think we'll be back on this year. Have a great summer, everybody. God bless you.
Whoa.
Because if the NBA goes down, how do you play in junior hockey, right? And so we stayed that night in the Sioux. Thursday morning, we get up. Our equipment staff, again, they're another reason to our huge success, had our bus packed. Our players didn't touch anything. We get on the bus after breakfast, and we're driving back. And we just crossed the border from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan into the Upper Peninsula. And we see NCAA basketball tournament shuts down. And then it was like one after the other. It was like, it might have been like girls and then men's, or women and then men's and something else. And it was like, you just saw them fall, boom, boom, boom. And we stopped halfway at a restaurant to get a meal, and we're thinking, okay, our goal is to go to London. We play tomorrow in London, but we're passing through Flint. Like, what's the plan? And we're on the phone with our general manager, Barclay Branch, and he's obviously on the phone with the league office, and stand by right now. We're still playing. And then it was like, you're passed through Flint, pull off in Flint, and we pulled off, and we actually had like television news station cameras on our bus pulling in because they wanted to know why we were coming back. And we all sat in the locker room for like 2 hours, and then I got a phone call from ownership. They said, we need to start preparing a statement. And I just said to everybody, okay, guys, that's it. She's over with. And then the OHL instructed all the players to go back home. And so all the players left the rink. I was in our locker room today, and it's kind of eerie on the itinerary. It says 7 p.m. Bud for Budweiser Gardens in London, right? That's still there. Like, you walk through, it was kind of eerie. You see the standings were, second in the West, and it's like everybody packed up and left, and then no one's been back since in March, right? And it just and I'm still there, the only person still there from the hockey side every day, and I think about it all the time. But since then, life has not been the same.
No, it has not been. And sometimes we think that we're just going through a normal day by day, and then something like this happens where you sometimes learn about life and the perspective that you gain out of life, that hockey is wonderful and it's an important part of all of our lives, but when something like this comes about, you realize how small the game actually is, especially when everybody left, and who knows when everyone's going to be back, and you see what's going on in the world. And Dom, we're really fortunate that we're able to talk like this, and be able to reflect and still look ahead, and hopefully get back to normal soon. But that's just crazy stuff. Just the way that the season ended for you. Real quick on this side, from an Erie perspective, I think we were playing Saginaw, and the game ended. Saginaw ended up going back home, and Erie was supposed to go on the Michigan trip right after that week. And you mentioned the NBA. That's what happened with when that got shut down. Just heard that the bus never left. And from there, you just like, okay, they're probably done. And lo and behold, they were done. And just you want to see the season end. At least you want to try to. I know the NHL did a heck of a job in completing their season and awarding the Stanley Cup. But if the pro league shut down like that, you're right. How in the world can 15, 16 to 20-year-olds play like that? I mean, you got to put your priorities together. And I think everybody's done a great job of keeping, everybody safe and all this, so that, we can get back as quick as we can. So great job by the league, great job by the individual teams, even though it was a real hard way for it to end. I'm sure you wanted to see how that season ended, but at the end of the day, we think we got something better, which is all of our health and all of our safety. So we can't be thankful enough for that, right?
100%. It's all it comes down to, the end of the day, your health.
Absolutely.
And you know that, it's the richest people in the world. And they said money isn't everything. It's your health. So.
Yep. And so if you're just joining us here, it's 20 after 8. This is the Hockey Writers Live. This is episode 4. We're talking with Dominic Hennig from the Flint Firebirds. And Dom, I know in 2015, I made the road trip over to Flint to cover the Erie Otters, but I didn't realize what I was going to actually be in for, as I'm sure a lot of other people weren't sure what they were going to be in for with what happened with the team and almost walking out. But that was then. What's going on now in Flint, though, I think is the huge story, to be able to not only turn around from that situation, but to be able to have excitement in the city within the hockey team. And then to last year, where you guys were second in the Western Conference. Can you pinpoint a moment or two where things really started to turn Flint's way from those dark days?
Well, for those unaware, the team moved from Plymouth, Michigan to Flint in the summer of 2015. Flint's first season in the OHL was 2015-16, and there was, a couple issues, and it was um, a season that was just not a winning year. The team had a pretty good year in year number 2, made the playoffs, but then year 3, not the best. Year 4, not good either. Year 4, the team started 16-1 in the first 17 games, and it was awful. So then year number 5 comes, and quite a few changes and a few conversations with the owner, Rolf Nilsson, who I think deserves a lot of credit, where no expense was spared. We brought in a new associate coach in Ryan Kuwabara from the Saginaw Spirit. This guy is unbelievable when it comes to booking hotels, catering, meals, travel, all that stuff. If it was, with the exception of a difference of a plane and a bus, if the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Toronto Maple Leafs were in the OHL, that's what it seemed like. I mean, we were eating at the keg. We were going day before, sometimes 2 days before, to Ottawa. We were staying in cities. And that played a huge part in the way they traveled, the way they ate, the way they stayed. I thought that was one of the biggest roles. Brought in an equipment manager, Simon Payette from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. In my opinion, one of, if not the best, in junior hockey. This is the type of guy who was packing up all our players' gear, going ahead of the team in a U-Haul truck, a moving truck, setting all the gear up on the road in a visitor's locker room with carpets in front of each player's stall, nameplates on the road, all that stuff. So our players would come to the rink, their equipment would be gone. They'd get on their own bus. They'd go to Windsor, Sarnia, Kitchener, London, whomever, and all their gear was set up there. They play, they win, they get back on the bus, head home. Don't have to worry about anything. It was legitimately ran like a professional hockey club, NHL. Everything was perfect, from the meals to the hotels to the equipment to everything. It's a CCM hockey league. Our players, you have to use CCM sticks. Our owner paid the fine to allow our players to use Bauer sticks or what have you, Warrior sticks. And then if you have to pay the fine, you don't have a deal with CCM, so you don't get the sticks for cheap. So you're almost paying full price. Again, no expense spared. Our owner said no problem. And our players got whatever sticks they wanted, as many as they wanted. So when you start to add up all the pieces, where head coach Eric Wellwood, under the direction of Barclay Branch and Joe Steffen, Wellwood has won 3 Memorial Cups. Nobody has won 4. He's played in the NHL. That's a great leader. Their associate coach, Ryan Kuwabara, this is a 100-point scorer in the OHL, played in the Olympics and knows what it's like to be a pro, and was booking hotels and meals like a pro. Our assistant coach, Mark Rideout, he owns his own gym in Windsor. Head strength and conditioning coach here in Flint. That bodes well for on-ice success, especially in the third period, all the way down to the trainer, Matt Bogart, who was working at NFL first-round draft picks, and then, the equipment manager, Simon Payette. So new associate coach, new assistant coach, new trainer, new equipment guy, and everybody wanted to be a pro, and that's what it was. There was no expense spared. It wasn't junior hockey kind of thing, and I think that all bode well for success. And of course, all the moves that Barclay Branch set up with signing the right guys and making the right trades, that helps as well. But when you add all the pieces together, it all, of course, can't be done without the owner, Rolf, who's willing to pay for all this and take this expense on. It adds up, and we, again, 40 win season out of 63, 15 game winning streak, 12 of them were on the road. You start to make it deep in playoffs, you start to recoup a lot of that money, and that's where, it's worth it at the end of the day. And that's where, this club is at now. So yeah, we've transitioned from the dark days. That's Oliver, by the way.
Yeah.
Star of
the show.
Oh my gosh. First time he's ever done that, but we transitioned from the dark days to the good days, and that's where we're at now. I'm proud to be a Firebird. We have the top 3 locker room facilities, 6-person saltwater hot tub, theater, video room, our own weight room, all that stuff. Into there's some potentially some renovations that are going to be taking place in our building now that are complete game changers, and all the hockey stuff is there as well. So it literally, playing in Flint, you're lucky to play in Flint. It's a good place to play hockey and learn and develop and grow.
It's quite a turnaround for the Flint Firebirds, and seeing it, covering from over here in Erie. Been in that building, seen what it's like over there. It's just, the turnaround has been awesome. And when Don speaks about them treating everybody like a pro, they've become a destination now. And I know a lot of fans might not really, they might think of a few years ago still. Those days are gone. Like, you need to look to now, and look where they were last year, look where they're going to be going here. Flint's a great hockey market now. It's an incredible turnaround what they've experienced from 2015 to now. So Dom, we got one last question for you before we let you go for the night, and we're going to ask you to put your scouting hat on, because when you do call play-by-play, you do get a front row seat, and who better to ask about a couple guys than you. You mentioned, the last few years, they've had the Firebirds have had at least one player, drafted into the NHL. I kind of jokingly say that the Dallas Stars are Flint South. I mean, Ty Dellandrea, and then this year, Evgeny Atsenyuk ends up going there. So, can you kind of give Dallas Stars fans a taste of what they're going to get with Atsenyuk?
Well, this is the first Flint Firebird that was drafted after their first eligible draft year. So he went year number 2, or a year after his drafter. It's Evgeny Oxentuk, and this is a player who led all players in the CHL import draft from the 2019 import draft in points. Well, that's a pretty big deal. He comes into the league from Europe, comes to the USA, which is typically smaller ice sheets and a whole different world, from Belarus to the USA. Led the Firebirds in points, put up 78 points in 58 games. He set a franchise record for point streak. I think it was 14 consecutive games as a point streak as well in his first season here in Flint. So this is a smaller player, but he's the type of guy who won't back down from he's 5'8", 5'9". He won't back down from guys who are 6'5", and he goes after them in corners. He fights. He's a scrapper. He has no fear. He's smaller, but he's quick. He's got great hands. He's flashy. A lot of people watching this might recognize that goal that he did, the lacrosse move, the Michigan, the Svechnikov, whatever you want to call it, against the London Knights in Flint, that has been seen over, 150,000 times now on social media. It was on Sportsnet and TSN. And then after he did the lacrosse move, his celebration was the moonwalk, Michael Jackson moonwalk. I mean, so he's a flashy guy. He's confident. He's so skilled. He's got a great shot. He's got great hands. He's quick. I have a highlight reel on the Firebirds homepage of the website right now. The first clip is him in overtime or in the final minute, shooting on net, and then he's the first guy back on 3-on-3 and pokes the puck away on a breakaway and doesn't take a penalty. So defensively, maybe not his forte, but when he needs to play, he's there. So I think it's a great pick. I just size is always the question, but then you ask yourself, well, size the question when you look at guys like Patrick Kane and Bobby Ryan and Gerby and all these other guys right now. Well, maybe not. So I think he has a chance, and it's 3 of the 5 years at least one Flint Firebird was taken by the Dallas Stars. So it's incredible what they like in Flint, and maybe it's all coincidence. But there's a lot of tools to grow and succeed here in Flint, and we're happy to have them.
And the beat will go on too next year. We're talking about a very a first round draft pick potential in Brennan Othman. Just how dynamic is he, and how high could he possibly go in the first round in your sight?
Well, this is the guy who is the number 1 overall pick in the OHL draft of his birth year, because only Shane Wright went ahead of him. So that says a lot when you talk about the OHL first overall picks that have been through here. I think the sky is the limit for this kid. I think he has the chance to be one of, if not the best players in the league in the next year or two. It's tough because I started at NCAA, so I've seen guys who are essentially 22, 23, 24 grown men. I'm still learning that whole 15, 16 to 16, 17-year transition and what they've become in hockey. I got to see it with Ty Dellandrea, of course, and many other players. But, I think Brennan Othman, there's a shot he had in Kitchener. He's got a great shot, a bullet. It's accurate. I think that's huge. I think this player is just a bona fide goal scorer. Puts himself in the right points to score. He led the franchise as rookie in goals and points in his first year in the OHL as well. And I'm really excited to watch him continue to be a Flint Firebird moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, Dom, you've been wonderful. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to join us. Thank you for the stories, and just hope that we'll get some normalcy soon, and we hope to be hearing you behind the mic of the Flint Firebirds very soon. Thank you very much for joining us.
I hope so too, guys. God bless. Be safe.
You too. Thanks. Dom Hennig joined us from the Flint Firebirds.